Well, we were saying this morning we were all feeling pretty frazzled after Christmas and New Year, and then we knew you were coming in today, and the book is called Frazzled.
A mindfulness guide for the frazzled.
Yeah. Do you think we're all kind of burnt out?
I don't think.
You know.
I do know. I mean, we live in a state of frazzledom, but it's not about being stressed, because we're supposed to, otherwise we'd still be sitting on our porch in Alabama playing the banjo. We need the oomph, but the thing is now we get stressed about stress, so we layer it on. So that's what keeps you up at night. Why did I such an idiot? Why didn't I call him back? He hates me. Everybody hates me. Everybody has that running commentary in their head. There's a reason why, but that's in my book. But the point is, there will never be an answer. It's like going in quicksand, and the more you think about it, you're going to sink. Yeah. So part of this is understanding when are you ruminating and when are you actually coming up with an interesting answer.
Do you think that women, in a way, suffer more from this than men? Because I do sometimes think we are our own worst enemy. I mean, I do it in my own house. I kind of get really frazzled about stuff that needs doing, and then my husband's very good at mindfulness.
Yeah,
and I go,
they're fake.
Oh, I'll do it. I'll do it.
Yeah.
And I think, why have I just said that?
Yeah, why don't we delegate?
I can't help you with that.
Yeah.
But men just hide it better. But from doing my shows for 10 years, in the end, the second half of the show, the audience stand up and start talking. There's just as many men.
Oh, really?
And it's even worse in a way, because they don't have any. They can't go out with the girls and express it. So it's the state of where we are now. And I don't want to go, oh, it's technology's fault, or it's this. It's there. We stuck it there. But it's how to deal with the frazzledom.
The word mindfulness is a fairly new, not to you, I know, because you've been studying mental health and, you're well qualified to talk about this. But for most of us, kind of the mindfulness is this buzzword.
It's a terrible word.
How would you... Yeah,
it's
so
a terrible
people watching
word.
going, what does that mean?
I know. Look, the point of it is I was really, because I had depression, not everybody does. I really wanted to figure out a way, I get those loop tapes, and eventually I can't even focus on anything. So I did do the research. I checked. I'm a fanatic. And it turned out that mindfulness and cognitive-based therapy had the best results for anxiety and, those ruminations. So I went to find the guy who created it, and he was a professor at Oxford. And so I said, how do I get, what happens in your brain? I don't have time for this. I could learn the salsa. So don't throw me, don't give me the angel cards. Just tell me. And he said, you'd have to get into Oxford if you want to know that. And so, because I'm insane, I did. And so I got a master's in it, and Oxford weren't offering witchcraft, so I figured.
And that was the happiest day of your life, wasn't it?
Happiest day of my life.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
But it's mindfulness...
But mindfulness is, basically, what I love is that you can see the results in the brain. Otherwise, why bother? But it is about, look, you're never going to empty your mind. When your mind is blank, you're dead. It's a big clue, okay? But, those endless thoughts, it's part of we all have it. First of all, that should give us relief. But it's more like you get a different relationship with the thoughts. So rather than you believing everything, and, oh, now I have to go shopping, I have to answer that email, in a way you get used to them, and you start watching the thoughts, and you realize it's they're continuing whether you pay attention or not.
But you're sort of more in control.
Well, you're watching them, and then it's more like a radio's on in another room. And sometimes you have to listen to them, but you don't have to listen to. I mean, how many times am I shopping for Batmans at 2 in the morning?
Is it about prioritising as well? Because I have a constant to-do list in my head, on my phone, in my head. And then there are times, particularly now I've started putting it on my phone, that I suddenly realise, like 3 weeks later, there's one thing that was originally at the top of my list that has been so demoted.
You'll never get through the list.
The
list is endless.
Yeah.
So we're terrified of being listless.
Yeah.
But also, you haven't just studied this, really, you've lived it, haven't you, as well? I mean,
Well, you can't get a six-pack with one sit-up. It's something you have to practice every day.
Really?
And by the way, the pelvic floor isn't going up by wishful thinking. You got to work that baby. So the same with mindfulness. You don't have to sit on a gluten-free cushion. But, even, it's just noticing when you're hitting your tipping point. Because none of us do. We all go, oh, yeah, I'm keeping up with the next guy. People who women jogging at 3 in the morning with 17 children, knowing how to make a muffin.
I don't have any friends
So
like
the thing is to understand, and the media says, oh, this is what we should achieve, is to say, okay, I can only get this far. I'm starting to burn. It's like checking the weather inside. You check it outside to say, it's a red mist. So learning how to just sit back and notice. And that doesn't mean you chill out, which is a word I can't stand. It means
chillax.
when it's like you reboot your machine, and then when you get back in, everybody else burns out because you've got.
Well, listen, it's such a big subject, and obviously can't cover it all here. But it's so good
can I
to
say
see
I'm
you.
touring the show of Frazzled in January too?
You can say that.
Yeah.
You've just said it. Well done. A mindfulness guide for the Frazzled. It's a really interesting read. Thank you very much. Ruby Wax, everybody. We get some pretty fabulous guests here on Loose Women. There's plenty more where that came from. Just click here to watch more interviews with a whole range of famous faces. And click here to subscribe. It's free, so you'd be silly not to, really.